Uncle Ernest opines on From Can to Can't. Well, I tell you what, if a man ever wanted to understand Ashley County, he wouldn't need to look much past that old saying, from can to can't. I've been hearing that phrase since I was big enough to stand on a syrup bucket and pump water. It means from the time you can see till the time you can't. Daylight to dark, can to can't. That's the whole rhythm of life around here, boiled down to 5 words and a long day. Now, I don't mean just the work itself, I mean the spirit behind it. That slow, stubborn heartbeat that kept this place going when the soil gave out, when the timber got thin, and when the government couldn't find Ashley County on a map if you drew them a line straight to it. Folks here didn't need a clock or a calendar, they had sunlight and grit. That's what this whole series is about, if you ask me. Brad done put in 15 essays and a closing piece, but he could have told you in one sentence if he wanted to. We worked, we endured, we built something out of nothing. The first stories, them early morning essays, those are about the tenant years. The sun wasn't even up yet, and them poor souls were already walking into the fields, coffee still burning their tongues. You had the man with the mule, the woman with the hoe, and the children with the water bucket, all marching out in that River King green light like a little army against the world. They didn't own the land, but they sure owned the daylight. I can picture it plain as day. The mule shifting in the harness, the smell of wood smoke from breakfast fires, the women stirring biscuits in iron pots while the dew still clung to the grass. You could tell how early it was by the lantern light, that pearl white glow swinging low over red clay. And then you get to them women. Lord, the women carried the weight of the county on their backs and in their aprons. You think the men were the only ones who worked? Not hardly. Them women hoed, washed, mended, burst, cooked, and buried. They worked a double shift every single day and never got a dime or a day off for it. They didn't need applause, they just kept going. The county's still standing on their bones as far as I'm concerned. And the mule? Don't get me started on that mule. The mule was smarter than most men and twice as patient. You couldn't lie to a mule. If you didn't know what you were doing, he'd tell on you right quick. You had to earn that animal's respect, same way you earned your living, with sweat and a steady hand. The mule and the man both understood something about stubbornness. It's the only reason either one of them survived. And then there was the commissary, that den of debt. Folks went in hungry and came out hungry, just with a sack of flour and another mark in the ledger. You could almost hear the change rattling when the clerk flipped that book open. That store wasn't a store, it was a system, one built to make sure you never got ahead. And yet, the same porch where a man lost his wages was the same porch where he'd swap stories, laugh, and shake hands with his neighbors. That's the mystery of it. People found community even in captivity. By the time you get to the middle of the series, the world's starting to speed up. The trains are coming, the mills are running, and the whistle's got more say than the rooster. Ashley County turned from cotton to pine, from rows to rails. Men traded their hoes for hammers, their fields for factories. The smell of soil gave way to sawdust. And just like that, the county went from tenant patches to timber towns. Now, some folks call that progress, and others call it the devil's bargain. I say it's both. The mills brought paychecks, but they also brought scrip, that fancy paper money you could only spend where the company told you to. A man could work 12 hours and still not have a nickel that'd jingle in his pocket. But Lord, he was proud anyway. He had a job, a roof, and a reason to rise before dawn. And on Sunday, when the whistle fell quiet, the whole county exhaled. The preachers thundered from pulpits made out of the same lumber the men cut, and the teachers opened their little one-room schools. Them teachers and preachers, they were the moral spine of this place. Didn't make much money, but they kept the light burning, taught the children their letters, and reminded grown folks that hard work wasn't just about the body, it was about the soul. And then the Depression rolled in and everything went sideways. But you know what? The people of Ashley County didn't fold. They tightened their belts, planted bigger gardens, and leaned on one another. Folks traded beans for bread, Work for firewood, songs for strength. That's what this series captures better than any history book ever could. That idea that scarcity didn't kill generosity, it made it stronger. And then came the machines, tractors, chainsaws, loaders, and lights. Progress, they called it. Freedom, too. And maybe it was. But when the mule barns emptied, a silence settled that never really left. The machine gave rest to the body, but it stole a little something from the spirit. Still, every old man I ever knew said the same thing. I'm glad I lived long enough to see it. By the time the last essay rolls around, the light's getting low. The fields are empty, the mill's quieter, and the people older. But the fire's still there. You can see it in the porch lights that come on before dawn, in the farmers still watching the weather, in the way folks here still shake hands after a deal. That's the last light Brad's talking about, the glow that refuses to go out. Ashley County's story ain't about tragedy or triumph. It's about motion. Slow, steady, human motion that keeps on going no matter what. These essays ain't just history, they're mirrors. They show us who we were, who we are, and what kind of people we still aim to be. So tomorrow, when the first post hits at 4 a.m., I hope folks will read it like they're sitting down with their grandparents again. Feel the dirt, smell the pine, listen for the whistle. It's all there. This series ain't just about the past. It's about gratitude for the work, the sweat, the faith, and the light that kept burning even when the world said it shouldn't. Because here in Ashley County, we don't quit when it's dark. We quit when we can't see. And even then, we keep the lantern lit.